Hey, everybody, welcome back once again to another question and answer session for the Former Athlete Society. If you're tuning into this, whether you're watching it on our Zoom, which we host for our Former Athlete Society membership group, or you're catching the replay later on YouTube, I just want to say thank you for making the time today. This is an investment in your own health, and you should be proud of that. Now, these sessions mean a lot to me because they allow us to go deeper into the real stuff, the everyday questions that you might not always ask a coach, a trainer, a friend, a somebody, right? But these are the things that could make a massive difference in your training, your recovery, and your mindset. Now, listen, sometimes these calls, when I do these question and answer calls, they're packed with questions. I get literally like questions that fill my inbox every single week. And sometimes I just simply can't ask or answer all of these questions. Now, other times, not so much, right? I've had a couple weeks where the questions have been few and far between. Now, if it's one person on this call, or if it's 100, I'm going to give everything I got because I believe in what we're building. I believe in the Former Athlete Society, and I know someone out there needs to hear these questions. So I came prepared. We got 5 questions pulled from the conversations that I've had with former athletes and people just like you, right? And I'm going to walk through them. I'm going to give you the most honest, tactical, and field-tested advice that I can possibly give. But before I do, just a couple things. If you have never seen one of these videos with the Former Athlete Society, let's unpack a couple different things. Number one, my name, I'm Adam Ringler. I've been a strength and conditioning coach all of my professional career, and it is my job to take this information of almost 20 years of Division I, Power 4, strength conditioning level, and deliver it to you. So that is what I love to do. That is my passion project, if you will, to take all these lessons and provide them to you for free here. So let's start, right? We got our first question, and I want to dive into it right here. Maggie out of Atlanta, she asks, hey coach, I keep hearing about creatine. If I'm trying to get stronger in the weight room, should I add it to my supplement routine? Now, that's a great question, right? And it's one that I probably hear literally weekly. Now, here's the deal. Creatine is the most researched, most effective, most accessible performance supplement available. Period. There it is. And we're not just talking about gains in size or mass. We're talking real world improvements in power output, in work capacity, and even cognitive recovery. And that's something that's so cool. If you're resistance training 3 or more days per week, and your goal is to actually build strength, especially maybe post 30 years of age like me, right? I believe creatine is a no-brainer. And I'm not talking about mega doses either, just 3 to 5 grams per day of creatine monohydrate. It doesn't matter if you mix it with your protein shake or you stir it in water, right? The consistency is really all that really matters. Now, here's where I'll get a little specific with my recommendation. If you're not seeing progress in your lifts, or if for any reason, if you're plateauing in maybe compound movements like squats or your deadlifts, creatine can really honestly be that 5% edge that gets you over that hump. Will it turn you into a superhero? No. But it will help you reload ATP faster so that you can push harder rep after rep. And that's what matters. Now, also worth noting, this isn't just a young man supplement either. Older lifters, women, even endurance athletes have all shown positive effects. So yeah, Maggie, I think it's absolutely worth considering adding creatine. Again, consult with your primary care physician. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a registered dietitian. If you are a WADA, USADA, tested athlete, make sure that you seek out a reputable company because there are irreputable supplement companies out there. So make sure you do your due diligence as well because you want to make sure that you're healthy, number one. So let's move on to now questions number 2 of our Former Athlete Society. And this one is Marcus in Denver. We have obviously a big poll here in Colorado. Just geographically how the algorithm must serve things up. Marcus in Denver asks, Coach, I am feeling beat up in my late 30s. My knees are tight. My low back is barking. Should I push through the lifts on my program or should I modify them when I feel off? Well, listen, we all, yeah, we all feel off sometimes, right? And our body sometimes absolutely hates us. But we got to be smart with how we make these programmatic changes. And I think this question certainly cuts deep for a lot of us because we were raised on that old school mentality that no pain, no gain. And while there's a difference between discomfort and injury, we also need to stop pretending like grinding through faulty movement is some level of a badge of honor. It's not, right? Here's the honest truth. If your body is giving you signals, it's not being weak, it's being wise, right? Stiffness and aching joints and sharp pain, that's feedback for you. You're either under recovered, you're overusing a pattern, or something's misaligned, right? And ignoring that for weeks is how compensations happen. That's how a tight hip turns into a torn labrum. That's how a sore back becomes a chronic issue. So what I recommend is this, right? Having maybe 2 to 3 go-to modifications for your major lifts, right? So if your back squat is bothering your knees, try box squats, maybe tempo goblet squats. Maybe you're pressing overhead, right? And now your shoulder is just a little painful. Maybe go neutral grip dumbbells. Swap bilateral for unilateral exercises. So going from 2 arms to 1 arm. Reduce the range of motion. And if you don't know what to actually substitute in, guys, this is why I run the Former Athlete Society, right? Shoot me a message in my DMs. I'll give you 3 options right now, literally right now. Now, if you're like, Adam, what's the best way of reaching you? It's right there. It's right there on the screen, right? Shoot me a message here and I'll give you 3 options right now that you can use so that you can lateralize your exercise or at least have a regression into something different. Now, progress isn't linear, and listening to your body doesn't make you soft. It actually makes you smart enough to stay in the game for the long run, right? I love that question, by the way. That's super rad. I want to take a moment here for a couple of different things. If you have not done this yet, I want you to do it. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to our YouTube channel. That is really important for us because it helps the algorithm, guys, right? It also helps you get first access to all of our videos, everything that we're doing here. So don't be a stranger, hit the notification bell. It's right over there, and make sure that you get access to all of our videos that we are posting, right? So let's pivot to something maybe a little bit less gym oriented and more about recovery. Now, this one comes from Jessica. She's out of Chicago. Again, I don't know why Chicago. The last question and answer had a Chicago message, but cool. Maybe you're telling your friends about the Former Athlete Society. So, coach, my Oura Ring is showing me that my deep sleep scores have been tanking the last 2 weeks. What can I actually do about this? Great question. Jess, let's see. How do I tackle this? Sleep is where we grow. Right? It's where you are actually making those strength gains that you've worked so hard for. But deep sleep in particular, deep sleep, that slow wave, restorative deep sleep, that pituitary driven sleep, that's what actually regulates hormones. It repairs tissues and it restores your central nervous system. So it's super vital. And if deep sleep is trending downward, there are maybe a few culprits that we should probably check, right? Just to be honest. We have to be super honest about the last 90 minutes before you go to bed. So I've talked about it on other accountability calls, on other question and answer sessions, but do you have blue light exposure? Are you, here's my phone right here. Are you doom scrolling, right? Watching TikToks? Are you watching maybe high stimulatory shows like Stranger Things or action movies? All things that jack up cortisol and maybe blunt melatonin production? Put the phone down. Shut the laptop, right? Get off of devices. Read a book. Now, if the second thing I'd say is your last real meal that you consume, that matters. So eating heavy right before bed can actually elevate your heart rate, and it interferes with your temperature regulation. 2 things that directly impact deep sleep. So instead, maybe try to finish your final meal 2 to 3 hours before you lay down. And hydration is key. But as I've mentioned on my accountability calls, right, don't overdo the fluids at night or you'll wake up like me who has to sometimes urinate 2 to 3 times a night. That's not fun, right? And it interrupts your sleep cycle. The third thing I've talked about on this show is considering magnesium glycinate, not citrate, not oxide, glycinate. 300 milligrams about 30 to 45 minutes before bed. And if you're a higher body weight individual, maybe 400 milligrams. And if you pair that with consistent sleep and wake times, even on your weekends, you stay consistent on your weekends, you'll have deeper, greater sleep. And then lastly, the last thing I'd say is that, and listen, for a lot of people, they for whatever reason, this actually makes people mad when they hear this. And I know why. I absolutely know why, because everybody wants to live in fantasy land. But limiting alcohol intake, right, that matters. Alcohol crushes your deep sleep. Even 1 to 2 drinks can suppress your slow wave sleep up to 40%. So if you're having that sort of nightcap, might also be the answer there. So trying to remove that as well. Question 4, moving on, right? We got a bunch of questions on this Former Athlete Society. Before we go any further, I do want to end up sharing this with us. I run a website. It's adamringler.com. It's covering up my whole face right here. You can see my eyes, but not my mouth. This website is where I post all of my articles, all of my blogs, all of my long form, short form, my Decoding Excellence podcast that I run. I have 80 some episodes at this rate. All of our video content is there. All of our written content is there. I'd love you to check it out. It is the best source for strength conditioning, high performance coaching, and sport technology and sports science. So adamringler.com, it's a free membership. There is a premium membership. There is the Former Athlete Society membership as well, but free. Punch in your name, punch in your email. You'll get full access to all of our articles, the commentary, the discussion boards, etc. Now, this next question, this is Eli from California. I didn't say where, but I'm going to pretend you're somewhere sunny and maybe on the beach, because if you're going to be in the West Coast in California, you should be under some palm trees. So, Coach, I've been trying to eat cleaner and I'm wondering about healthy fats. What are some good sources and how should I add them to my meals? Eli, this is awesome because I think this is where a lot of former athletes were taught to fear fat. We were eating plain chicken breasts, steamed rice, broccoli with 0 fat in it, right? But we actually need fats for hormone production, for brain health, for joint health, and even nutrient absorption. So here's what I often tell my athletes. Number 1, consult with our RD. She's amazing. Go talk to our nutritionist. That would be a start. Now, if you can't, focus on fats that come from whole food sources. So things like avocados and extra virgin olive oils, fatty cold water fish like salmon or mackerel, or pasture raised eggs, raw nuts, seeds, things like that. Yeah, maybe even some grass-fed butter or ghee. Now, do you add them, like how do you actually add them without overdoing it? Well, that's easy. You aim for 1 to 2 thumb-sized portions per meal, and that's it. This could mean a drizzle of olive oil on your roasted vegetables, a couple eggs with your breakfast, a tablespoon of almond butter with your oats. Half an avocado with your lunch sounds delicious. Those tiny tweaks add up over time. And when you do, your body actually loves that, right? It will be wild that you're actually giving it the nutrients that it really needs. But don't get caught up in the omega-6 versus omega-3 debate. Unless you're eating literally a ton of processed seed oils, just keep it simple. Real food, moderate portions, spread it across the day, and your energy will probably stabilize. Your hormones will thank you, and your joints will actually feel good again. At least that's been my experience. So moving on, last question of our Former Athlete Society question and answer for today. But before I do, again, I was checking out some of the YouTube analytics. I know we can improve on some of these numbers. So as always, this is what I would love for you to do. Click like, subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you get first access to all of our videos. That will help out the algorithm. It'll get this video out to more former athletes that can benefit from this. So final question. It's a big one. And this is from Nick out of Detroit. Yes, Michigan, fellow Michigander. Coach, I'm trying to get healthier, but I've got some older friends who are always hitting me up for late night beers. Okay. I like them, but it's getting hard to balance my goals. Is there a happy medium? Are non-alcoholic beverages okay, or should I just change my circle? This is a tricky one. This is where this advice gets real. Training, nutrition, that's easy. That's scientifically driven, right? I can give you recommendations this. It's the social stuff that derails most people. So here's what I think. If your friends, that friend group that you're talking about, that they only want to hang out when drinks are involved, what kind of friendship is that? Are they lifting you up, or are they pulling you down? So if you can't say, hey, I'm trying to hit some new goals right now without them mocking you or pressuring you, that's not a supportive friend group. That's, quite frankly, that's sabotage. That said, you don't need to go full monk mode either and ditch your friend circle or social circle, right? Non-alcoholic beers, yeah, that's a great tool, right? Athletic brewing, Heineken 0.0, whatever keeps you social, but maybe sober. I know guys who actually love just sparkling water on the rocks, right? So nobody even notices. But also, just be okay with saying no. You're not weird for choosing your health. You're just operating at a different level. And if you hold your standard long enough, either they come up to meet you at that new standard, or you'll naturally find new people who already live there. Right? You can have fun, you can be social, but it shouldn't come at the cost of your progress, your health, and your performance. All right, everybody. I think that's probably going to wrap up our Q&A for this Former Athlete Society, at least for today, right? I do these every single week. So if you're like, Adam, you're ending it, we're only, like 15 minutes in, guys, wait 4 days and I'm going to have the accountability call on Tuesday, right? But I hope these questions maybe spark some curiosity with you, something for you that you can take away. Whether you're here watching this live as part of our Former Athlete Society, or you're watching the YouTube replay, just know this. You're not alone in this journey. These are the conversations that we actually need to have more of. So if this video brought some value to you, I want you to share it with somebody in your circle. Also, I want you to drop maybe a comment, right, in the discussions below this video, right? Ask your own question for next time. And if you want to go deeper on anything that we touched upon today, from supplements to programming to social pressure, guys, you know where to find me, right? It's so easy. And it is probably right here, adamringler.com. Sign up for a free membership, log in, hit me in the comments or in the discussion boards. But until next time, everyone, stay strong, stay focused, and keep showing up for yourself. Till next time, everyone.